Contribute to the program. And yes, I have contributed to his campaign. And because I believe that it's a seed planted on good soil, and when you plant a seed on good soil, somebody knows that God will bless you. Won't he bless you? Barack Obama's accomplishments tell us that we are a great people and we can make it on the hill country of America. He proves that we are a people who are rich in talent, rich in power, rich in culture, rich in history, and yes, rich in faith in God. I heard the rumor that they said that he was a Muslim, but he came out of Jeremiah Wright's church in Chicago, Illinois, very much a Christian congregation. We need to thank God for good leaders. Amen? Thank God for good leaders, because good leaders are hard to find. And speaking of good leaders, since we lost leaders like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey and Adam Clayton Powell and Mary McLeod Bethune, we have been looking for leaders, effective leaders, for a long time. And we have found that good leaders are hard to find. We need leaders who will lead us to new levels of progress and power. We need leaders who will lead us to be dignified and respected wherever we go. We don't need those leaders who will pimp us so that they can get glory for themselves. We need leaders that really will bring us to where we need to be as a people. And that's what I like about him. Amen? Good leaders are hard to find. Now let me admit that we have had some pretenders down through the years, but we never had a constant voice until now that really is making a difference for us. Are you praying with me? And this reminds me of this text, because it really is a political kind of situation, because in the book of Joshua is a kind of a transition from the days of Moses to the days of Joshua. You see, after Moses died, the children of Israel were desperate. They were looking for a new leader who would lead them. They would ask the question, who will lead us now that Moses is gone? And so the book of Joshua is a kind of, it's a transition. They are transferring the mantle of leadership over to Joshua. Joshua is the able successor to Moses. Joshua is the man. Like Barack Obama, he's the man. He's got charisma. He's got guts. He's got courage. He's got strength, and he's got vision. Joshua, not only was he that bad, but he was trained by Moses and prepared by Moses. And Moses recommended him to be his successor. Joshua Obama. Oh, no. He was the man. He was the man, the right man at the right time. And people believed in him. They believed that he had what it took. He could see the impossible. And he can do, he could do the impossible and see the invisible. He had what it took to take the children of Israel to the next level. He was sharp. He was young, he was energetic, and he was healthy, well liked by the people, and he even had some congressional experience. Y'all get that later. Joshua. God even had promised him, don't worry, Joshua, when you take the leadership as I was with Moses, I will also be with you. And so the book of Joshua talks about the battles. When they moved into the promised land, it talks about the various battles they had to fight with the people that were living in the land that they were to conquer. And they moved into the land, and they were ready now. They had taken over. They had destroyed a lot of the other countries that were there. And now the promised land was in view. And they were ready to cease their wandering and settle down and claim this new territory that God had blessed them with. Are you with me? And now it was Joshua's job to distribute the land among the children of Israel, among the 12 tribes. That's what was Joshua's job. And he had to do it according to the plan that Joseph had left behind. You remember Joseph. Joseph was the one that blessed them. He was the one that was taken into captivity. And he became second in command in Egypt. And so Joshua was following the plan of Joseph. The text seems to imply that there was a church meeting going on. Joshua called a church meeting to decide who will get what land. And it seemed that the proceedings were going on very, very well. They went on very nicely without a hitch until he gave the land to the children of Joseph, Manasseh and Ephraim. When he gave the land to the children of Joseph, it seemed that they were not satisfied with the land. Are you with me? They were not satisfied with the land. And we need to know, again, Joseph was the one whose plan was being followed. And now Joseph's children were getting land that they didn't feel that they deserved. Who was Joseph? Joseph was the brother who was in Egypt. And while he was in Egypt, and y'all need to know that Egypt is in the northern part of Africa. While he was in Egypt, he married this sister there, and he had 2 children by them. And so many scholars say that these 2 sons of Joseph were men of color. Are you with me now? You got to follow me closely now. And Joseph was the favorite son of Jacob. Joseph was the one that Jacob made the coat of many colors for. And I know some of y'all know what it is to have a favorite child, but you need to realize that that's the worst thing you can do is to favor one child over the other, but we do it. Amen? And so Joseph's sons now. Joseph was dead and gone now, but Joseph's sons now were being favored by Jacob, Joseph's father, and he was giving them land along with his natural children. That's what we do with our favorite children. Our love for our favorite children spills over to their children. So tell your neighbor, don't favor any one of your children. You got to love them all the same. Amen. So it implies, it seems to suggest here that the 2 sons of Joseph, Ephraim and Manasseh, they seem to be a little conceited or a little arrogant because of their father. And so when they got their allotment of land, they began complaining. They began to moan and groan. You know how we brothers can do. We can moan and groan sometime when we don't get our way. Amen? And so they go to Joshua and said, Joshua, that's where we are. Joshua, we appreciate the land you gave us, but the truth is that land is too small because we are a great people. In other words, because we are great, Joshua, we don't deserve what you gave us. We deserve more than that. You sound kind of arrogant, right? They didn't seem humble. They didn't seem humble there, did they? And I'm sure that some of us, we know some arrogant people like that. Amen. We know some arrogant people like that. They feel that just because of who they are, they deserve more than everybody else. But God doesn't see favorites.